Whoa, you're listening to a podcast hosted on the Podcast Matrix. What is the podcastmatrix.com?
Being green is about more than saving on your electric bill or doing your part to protect natural resources. It is about getting a safe and healthier life for you and your family without sacrificing style, quality, or budget. This is a movement to provide all of us with clean air to breathe and water to drink, safe, healthy food to eat and places to live, and energy to run the places where we live, learn, play, and work. Your go-to information source for a healthier home and world, hosted by Marla Esser-Close, your green home coach. This is the Green Gab Podcast.
This is Marla, the Green Home Coach, and I'm on the Green Gab Podcast today with Rhonda Flint. How are you today, Rhonda?
Oh, I'm awesome. How are you doing?
I am awesome. I am loving this. I now have a studio to record in Oklahoma City. So for all the listeners that have been following along for a while, we kind of transitioned from St. Louis to Oklahoma City, and I love the fact that I found a place to do this. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. So being in Oklahoma City has opened my world up to a whole bunch of new people, which I find really exciting because I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to find when I moved here. But there's always simpatico people, right?
Yep.
Tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you and I came to be in the same room.
Well, I am a wellness advocate with Young Living Essential Oils, and I have been with them for a little over 9 years now. And it was actually a lady at church that introduced me to the company. It is a wellness company, and she saw some pretty heavy needs that my family, my children had. And so I did a lot of research. I kind of get that detailed personality and did a lot of research on my own. I was not raised in a family that used a lot of holistic methods, so this was all new to me.
Yeah.
And so a lot of research on my part, and started using the products. And I will have to say that it has been an incredible tool in our wellness belt that has brought some amazing health and wellness to our entire family, and not just to us personally, to our bodies, but to our homes as well.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the things that I was bringing into my homes and how they were affecting our health, our cognitive ability, our endocrine system, everything, things that you just don't really even think about. It was very eye-opening. Here we are 9 years later, and once you have that knowledge, it's very difficult not to want to share that with other people. So one of my goals in life is to help raise that awareness in other people, to plant that seed for a need, and to see if there is something that I can help change in your lifestyle or that's in your homes to help bring about a healthier home for you.
And I've learned in spades that you are an educator at heart. You
Yes.
are definitely a teacher at heart. I'm a servant teacher at that.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, I'm learning so much from you. And I'm fairly well schooled on homes and what to bring into them, but there's so many different solutions to that that you can look a lot of ways. And I find that reassuring because that way people can find what works for them. But what I find so exciting about essential oils is that they are really moving forward. And there's a whole movement towards plant-based science and the medicinal nature of our foods and our herbs. And it just all ties in with what you're able to promote and to teach through essential oils, doesn't it? Yeah,
Absolutely. And I think what I like best is that this isn't anything alternative. It's not like it's something new. There are hundreds of references, even in God's Word.
I see it's in the Bible.
Yeah. So it's nothing new. I mean, you think, well, what did Laura Ingalls do? She didn't run down to a department store, right? We lived off the land. And so this is when we're using essential oils in any manner that we're using them, whether we ingest them or use them topically or diffuse them. It's nothing foreign to our body.
Right.
So it's not like our body has to stop and think, what do I do with this? This is not something that should be infiltrated into our system. It does an incredible job of boosting our immune system and helping to fight off free radicals and so forth. So like I said, it's been an incredible wellness tool for us.
So a couple of questions running through my mind at once. We'll see if I can keep them in order. One thing in particular that struck me, and I know a lot of folks have asked the same question I just heard about, is what makes essential oils better, different than just using the native herb or plant? And what's that magic that happens that makes the essential oil such a hot topic of conversation and such a helpful thing in our homes and our lives?
Right. And I am a strong advocate of herbs as well, and they are incredible. But in order for you to actually get an herb, the plant has to be dead. Right? So the plant is dead, and then you dry it, and then you've got this herb, and it certainly has its place. It's another tool for your wellness belt as well, but most of the essential oils are extracted from the plants in a steam distillation while the plant is still alive, which means the antioxidant level, the constituent rate is a lot higher. I mean, it's like comparing a can of green beans, which is dead, there's zero nutritional value in that, to a fresh green bean, or even a frozen that would be a little bit below the fresh green bean. So more potent.
So captures the essence.
Right.
Hence essential oils.
Hence the
I
name.
got it. Okay.
The light bulb moment just happened, folks.
And I'm a user. Come on. I mean, that sounds weird, Hey, I'm an oil user.
Yeah, I'm a user. We're all users, just admit it.
Okay. Yeah, we're kind of blushing in here. But that is the thing that I think a lot of folks, it's pretty simple, connect the dots, but we don't always leap there. So thank you for that. Okay, so you mentioned that you got into all of this about 9 years ago when you started converting your lifestyle. Right. And what prompted you to do that?
Well, basically the decline of the health of my family. And even before we were with Young Living, we had started to purge our home and started checking out the foods that we were eating and realized that I wasn't doing the best that I could with my family. And so we started ridding our pantry of box canned and some frozen foods. And so we were already on that journey. So when essential oils came into our life, it was just a natural progression. I'm like, oh, this is something that we need. This will just continue to advocate our health, in an upward manner. It wasn't anything foreign to me. It wasn't like, this is odd. It wasn't in the group of friends that I hung out with. So that's the reason I had never heard of it before. Okay. I wish I had been introduced to it 20 years ago when my children were babies, because they're all older now, 20 and 22 and 25. I wish that had been the case. Thankful that I have it now.
Yep.
And in the future, when we have grandchildren, we'll be able to have that. But so I raised my children as, preteens and teenagers on the essential oils and the supplements and the products and so forth. But it only took us 2 weeks after using the products, using the diffuser in my son's room. And I will say now, fast forward, that we do not have, in addition to the food changes that we have made and living a healthier lifestyle, my children don't frequent the doctor's office like they used to. Yeah. That wellness bar, I mean, we just broke through that ceiling. And so it was everything. So this is just now part of our life. So I've had people, it's so funny, I've had people say, well, how do you incorporate essential oils into your life? And to me, that's such an odd question because I have to actually stop and think about that.
What you've done.
Because, I mean, I eat, sleep, I drink, I use essential oils. I mean, it's not something that I stop and think about. It is completely part of our lifestyle. It's not like I have to stop and think, oh, make sure you use lavender today. Right. We use the oils every day. I probably use 6 or 7 of them in the bathroom before I ever leave. It's my skincare. It's my deodorant. It helps with, your endocrine, your upper respiratory system, your digestive system. They're supplements, right? The essential oils are supplements. So it's what we do every single day.
But it's a little bit different supplement than the kind you'd go buy in the store. So
exactly.
That's what's key.
Yeah.
Yes. We love not only talking about how people can live cleaner, greener, whatever you want to call it, lives. Better. I like better.
Yeah.
But a lot of that revolves around our homes. And I know that we both talked so much about how we've impacted our homes with the changes that we've made. And obviously, you've made a huge amount of change in your home over the 9 years.
Yes.
But what's been the one, besides the health and wellness, what's been the one big thing that you think has really changed or inspired you over that time?
Okay, if I could be a rebel and say 2.
Of course, for you, Rhonda, of course.
So the first thing is getting rid of the air fresheners and the candles. We had candles that weren't so healthy. You do have healthier versions out there, and we didn't have those, and a lot of plugins. And so I've replaced all of those with diffusers. And so you just put a little bit of water, about half a cup of water in your diffuser, essential oil of your choice, and that has replaced those other 3 things that weren't necessarily healthy for our home. It did not make it a cozy, healthy environment. So
we think smell,
yes, and we all like that smell. We want to either smell pumpkins or the cinnamon or whatever, right? And so we
bake a pie.
yeah. Oh, are you baking? No, I just lit a candle. And so the diffuser has taken over that, and without naming specific ailments, we've had ailments after ailments. I mean, even just headaches is one that literally have disappeared. Because those are things, those 3 things that I mentioned, those are things that we used to do, spray, plug in, burn, every single day. Because who wants a stinky home?
Right.
This is just what you do.
And if you can't figure out how to get rid of it, then you cover it up.
Right. And those products, unfortunately, with lots of research, discovered that they weren't the best for our bodies because our skin is porous, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's our 3rd kidney, so we're breathing them in. That means that it's affecting every single organ in our body.
Yeah.
And so when we made that switch, we discovered what it was like to breathe clean air and how good it felt. So that was the number 1 massive change that we made. And a second thing that I would say would be the dryer sheets. Because those are typically...
Ooh, let's hold that thought and come back right after break, because that's a great one. And man, talk about cozy. There's nothing more in the dryer. Hang on, folks. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Look, the voiceover industry isn't for everyone, but why not give it a shot and learn? Start your voiceover adventure at the Voice Farm Voiceover Academy. Don't start and end up in the dark when it comes to commercial voiceover. Start outside the box with your voice box at the Voice Farm today. VoiceFarmers.com. That's VoiceFarmers.com.
Wouldn't it be cool if your advertising could last forever? It can with perpetual advertising. Here's how it works. Unlike TV or radio ads, where every instance the ads are broadcast, they're only played once and lost forever. Perpetual advertising could have repeat exposure and replayability weeks, months, and even years after they're inserted in a podcast. So even if a podcast is a few years old, your ads will still be impactful to repeat listeners, as well as new listeners. This gives your advertising dollar the most bang for the buck. Find out more about perpetual advertising at twoguystalking.com/sponsors.
So we are back on the Green Gap podcast today with Rhonda Flint of Young Living Essential Oils. If you're not already subscribing to the Green Gap, please go to your podcast app and subscribe, and that way you'll know when Rhonda and I are coming up. You don't have to go figure it out. Okay, so before break, we were talking about dryer sheets as one of the ways people kind of think cozy is with your warm, toasty clothes that come out of the dryer, and they smell, and they smell good, hopefully, not bad. But dryer sheets, a lot of folks have figured out, not such a great idea. And I'm sorry, dryer sheet manufacturers. It's just, I personally don't want plastic all over my clothes and the stuff that it carries with it. So if we're not going to use dryer sheets, what are our alternatives?
Well, very easy. You can, if you have dryer balls, that's what we use. But some people said, I don't have dryer balls, so very, very easy. A washcloth. Just take a washcloth, put a couple drops of an essential oil in it, and stick it in your dryer. Now, I like dryer balls because that helps to reduce the drying time, and it will get rid of some of the static, that will be in the clothes. So I no longer set the actual timer on my dryer, to where I used to when I was doing a dryer sheet, because I can reduce it by about 10 minutes or so. So I prefer that. Some of my favorite scents are lavender and even wintergreen, citrus fresh. Not real picky about what goes on the balls. I just put 2 or 3 drops on.
So it smells good.
Yeah, on each ball. It smells amazing. I think the wintergreen or a mint scented oil is probably my favorite for the towels. But, who wants to dry their body or to have clothes put on their skin that has been laced with benzyl acetate and benzyl alcohol? So there's so many harmful chemicals that are in the dryer sheets, and I don't think any of us want those touching our skin.
Well, and we don't. And I know that it's easy for us not to pay attention, and sometimes we feel like what we don't know won't hurt us. Mm-hmm. But we're finding very strong linkages between chemical disruptors in our products, in our homes, in our food, and our environment that are tied to so many of the things that can go wrong with our bodies physically. Mm-hmm. So if there's easy alternatives, then why not?
Very easy.
I mean,
so cost effective.
It's just not a big deal. And if you want dryer balls, folks, I can get you hooked up with great wool dryer balls from USA grown wool. Is that right? Is wool grown? I guess so. Dryer balls is such an easy one. And I love the fact that what you said is dryer balls also can cut down your drying time. Mm-hmm. So that kind of helps us to contribute on the energy side and not be contributing as much if you're concerned about carbon emissions. So there's a whole slew of other effects. And I think one of the things that you and I know we've talked about before is there's so many unintended consequences that we just don't think about. And folks, you're not going to be able to do it all, you know? And be okay with yourself. Please give yourself some grace.
Yes.
Do what you can. And pick the things that are most important to you, right? So for you guys, it was health and wellness.
Yes.
And that was how you started your journey. But I know you're doing a lot of other things too that have really come from that journey and just come from who you've met and the things you've learned.
And I would say, to speak to what you just said, is do what you can and be satisfied with those steps. And creating that healthy environment and that cozy house that you want, it is baby steps.
Yep.
And so this did not, the changes that we've made in our home over the last 9 years did not happen from yesterday to today.
Right.
I mean, it literally took, I don't want to say the entire 9 years, but it was baby steps. And the first thing was, replacing the things that we talked about earlier that did not create a healthy, warm environment with the candles and the plug-ins and so forth. So then we used diffusers. And it wasn't until 2 years later that I accidentally discovered, when my daughter broke out horribly, only on one side of her face.
Oh, no.
That how toxic the dryer sheets were. And I had just bought a new brand.
Oh.
Wonderful scent. And I just washed the sheets, and she woke up. She looked like she had a mixture of poison ivy and a second-degree burn, only on one side of her face.
That's funny because we both have daughter and laundry chemical things that were really a big part of our lives. Yeah, that was the first thing I shaped up, was our laundry routine.
Yeah,
and then our soap and shampoo and things, because my daughter had a sensitivity to chemicals. Still does. I do now. I think I've gotten more sensitive as I've cleaned it up.
Happened.
Yeah, but I can walk into a room and tell you if there's artificial fragrance. When I started my journey, which I didn't know about things like the essential oils when I started my journey. That wasn't in my group. And now I wish I had. I would have learned a lot of things faster. But one of the things, when I started trying to clean up my laundry routine, 12, 13 years ago, there weren't a lot of choices like we have now.
No, there weren't.
And now you can walk into any big box store and find decent options, if not good options. There's tons of local people making their own products, so they may not be going through all the certifications.
Right.
But typically, if somebody's local and homemade, and you can see their ingredient list, you can be fairly self-assured that fairly assured that they're pretty good. But if it's closer to home, that's usually that's cottage industry approach, or that's usually a good indicator as well. But There's really good options out there. And if you're a do-it-yourselfer,
Oh, yeah.
oh my gosh. And you guys have tons of do-it-yourself recipes for making your home cozy and clean and
Yes.
sweet smelling.
Yes.
What's your favorite?
Probably my favorite would be the outdoor annoyance-free spray, because in the summertime, and especially when you're out in the water and in the evenings, you don't want to be annoyed by the
Little
insects.
flying bombarders.
And I also don't want to coat our skin with all of the harmful ingredients that's in the pre-made spray bottles, that's out there. If I'm going to do a DIY, it has to be easy, because I am not a big DIY person.
You and me both.
I told people, some of my friends, I'm like, I would rather poke a needle in my eye than to do a DIY. And it sounds crazy, but that's just not me. So it has to be very, very easy. So for me, I have done this now for 7 years, and we have a camper, and we used to go to Lake Texoma quite often, and all we did was get a little glass spray bottle and fill it with water, a little bit of Epsom salt, and I would put about 10 drops of purification, which it's a blend that has melaleuca in it, tea tree, right? Eucalyptus, myrtle, etc., and then just a couple drops of peppermint oil. Shake that baby up and spray it on us. Not one critter
That's great.
would bother us.
Believe it or not,
Super
I've
easy.
used catnip spray for insect repellent.
Yeah,
Who would have known?
who would have known?
The things you learn when you just start asking.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, cleaning our homes is also a big part of the coziness. We like it clean. We want it to smell fresh and clean. And changing up our cleaning products is a pretty easy one.
Yes.
I know there's great opportunities with the company Young Living, and there's lots of good options. So please, people, pick one.
Yes.
But you don't need to be smelling chemicals all the time. There's
No.
lots of great options.
No.
And I know you're a huge advocate of the cleaner y'all have.
Yes. Well, I do think that Young Living has an incredible product, but like you said, there are a lot of really good green products. So just research the ingredients. But Young Living has a cleaner called Thieves Cleaner, Thieves Household Cleaner.
Which smells yummy.
It does. It smells great. So it has a couple essential oils in it. Lemon, I'm trying to think what's in there. Lemon, and then for sure the Thieves essential oil. Thieves is a blend of eucalyptus, rosemary, lemon.
And yes, that's the name of the oil.
Yes,
It's Thieves.
Thieves, yes. And cinnamon bark. So it does. It smells very refreshing and clean and invigorating, actually. And I think what I like most about our cleaner is that you do not have to wear a facial mask
Or
rubber
gloves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it is that green. It is green for the environment, safe to be flushing down the toilet.
Yeah.
And by golly, give your children a spray bottle and they can clean. And you've got
The kids
that-
help clean?
Yes.
I love it.
You have that security of knowing that they're not being harmed by breathing it in or touching it.
Yep.
And it is very concentrated, so it comes in a 14-ounce bottle. You're just going to dilute that one capful. You're going to dilute into a 32-ounce plastic spray bottle. So
There you go. There's my DIY.
and that is it. Very easy, right? And that one bottle, that one 14-ounce bottle lasted me 10 months.
Wow.
So, and it literally replaced every
What, you only cleaned
single
once every 3
cleaner.
months?
No. Every
I'm
week.
just joking. I'm just joking.
Every single week. And it replaced every cleaner that was in my home. And again, I'm able to bring in the children. They should all be helping, right?
Yep.
And no fear of anything harmful being breathed into our lungs or touching our skin at all. So I've been using Thieves Cleaner on everything. Windows, mirrors, glass, wood, floors, granite, everything.
So here's a thought, folks, is that you just said it, Rhonda. We all have been trained by the people that sell all the products that we need a separate product for every single thing we do, and we really don't.
No.
Yes, you do want to make sure that the product you're using works correctly in an inconspicuous place first. But a lot of our products can be used, especially ones that are made to be multi-purpose, can be used in a lot of places. So,
Yeah, it replaced 7 different products I was using.
wow.
So underneath my sink's kind of empty.
There you go. You've got room for other things.
Yes.
Well, hey, take a quick breather and we'll be right back, folks.
It's plain old common sense. You want your home to look great, feel great, and perform great. Is it even possible to do all three? without breaking the bank. Yes, in Living Green Effortlessly, Simple Choices for a Better Home, Marla Esser-Close shows you how to make your home green. Whether you live in a small apartment in the big city or a brand new single-family home in the suburbs, from integrating smart technology into your home to planting a rain garden, there are all kinds of ways to live greener. Get the book now at livinggreenbook.com. That's livinggreenbook.com.
Editing podcasts can be rough. Everyone knows that you'll spend at least double the time you use creating the podcast when editing it. Then there's the control freak factor and the gotta get it right the first time factor. And well, it's time to shove all that out the door and make your podcast soar with the Editor Core. The Editor Core is a talented, experienced team of podcast editors that have edited tens of thousands of hours of podcast content, and they're ready for yours now. Check out editorcore.com because it's time to make your podcast soar. Editorcore.com. That's editorcore.com.
So as Rhonda and I are sitting here, on our break, we just realized that we upended the order of the show, and we never got a chance to talk about how we met. Being only back in Oklahoma City 2 years now, it's been a lot of fun to meet a lot of new folks and connect, and Rhonda's definitely one of those. And it was kind of funny how we met.
Mm-hmm. You tell the story.
Well, I'll tell part of it, and you have to pick up. So we first met in a ladies' mastermind group that I don't even remember who introduced me to that group. And then you left within a few meetings. The group kind of rearranged on its purpose, and so you moved on to other things. And then a mutual friend of ours, a lady that I had met through the Women's Business Center, I'd gotten to know her, and we'd gone to lunch, and she said, "Oh my gosh, you have to meet this amazing lady, Rhonda." And I guess she said the same thing to you.
Yeah. She said, you two of you think alike. You've got to get together with her. And she gave me her name. I was like, I don't know very many Marla. Sounds kind of familiar. So I called and left you a message. And when you called back, I'm like, man, that voice sounds familiar. I think I know you.
That was when we figured it out. Yeah. It's been fun to reconnect, even in a short time. But and then we discovered we only lived like a few miles apart.
Yes.
And now we're hanging out doing podcasts. So, but we've enjoyed it, and I thank you for all you've taught me, and bringing essential oils into more of my life. And while I've done a lot of things to clean up my home, the essential oils have just added a new dimension to it. So
you are welcome.
We really have enjoyed that, and looking into getting, learning more. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'll ever be a tenth as knowledgeable as you, but that's okay. I have you to call. Rhonda, what do I do for this?
I'm learning every day myself.
But getting cozy in the winter, because it's getting colder now. It's it's not October, it's November when we're recording this. And I know, a lot of folks starting to think about the holidays, and it's getting colder outside, and the things that you can do in your home. And we're in our homes more in the wintertime. So we want to make sure that we're keeping the environment as healthy as we can, because we don't want to spread colds and flu and all that. So how your home smells and how your home feels can make it just so much more pleasant. And that's going to be an advocate of good health, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. I always love having a fire in the fireplace or candles. We make sure that we've got candles that are made of natural beeswax or soy and scented with only essential oils or natural fragrances at all. That's what we were going to talk about earlier, was fragrance. So here's the deal, folks. That one little word on ingredients that says fragrance is really in and of itself an entire recipe of stuff that manufacturers are not obligated to talk about what goes into their fragrance blends. And it can be good stuff, and it can be a lot of not so good stuff.
You have no idea.
And this is one I'm super sensitive to. A special treat for me is to wear perfume, because I very rarely wear it, because it's got a lot of fragrance in it, obviously, being smelly stuff. So that's a special treat for me to do something like that, because I'm just not comfortable doing something like that on an everyday basis. And I think that's our point, right? Is that it's okay to do something once in a while, as long as it's not really bad. There are some things you probably want to not do, like walk across the street without looking. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. But there are a lot of things that if you do once in a while, even though it may have some stuff in it that's not as healthy for you, just lay low, do a little bit. I kind of go for the 80-20 rule. If you can do it, the better you can do it for 80% of the time, then you're making good strides.
Right.
I think the big thing that we've both really embraced is that it's changing that baseline. Wouldn't you say that? It's just adding to it. So what else can we do in our homes to be cozy and healthy and love winter and not be scared? I mean, some people kind of just get scared of winter. Oh my gosh, I get sick every winter. We don't, fortunately.
No. I can't remember the last time we got sick in the wintertime. It just doesn't happen anymore. A huge part in that is the preventive mode. So, yes, a fireplace, the healthy candles, and goodness, who doesn't want a home-cooked apple pie?
Or a big stew, big veggie stew. That sounds good.
Big pot of spaghetti. And so, yes, essential oils, we cook with them. We have a line of vitality oils that you can ingest. And so one of my favorite things to do is I have a very healthy apple pie that I make.
Ooh, I need that recipe.
And I'll share it with you. And make it with honey instead of laden sugar.
Raw honey, right?
So, well, actually, I only use a little bit more. Well, I use about a third of a cup. Instead of some apple pies that I've seen, it's like a cup and a half of raw sugar. So we don't do that. And I make my own crust, and then I'll put a drop of Young Living Cinnamon Vitality in the apple pie. Well, then all of the apple peelings that you get, I will put those in a saucepan with a little bit of water, turn them on medium, add a couple drops of either the thieves oil or the cinnamon bark, and then it just permeates the entire room of that smell. So kind of a little cheat there, before you throw out your apple peels or stick them in the compost, go ahead and boil them and let the air
smell like apple cider.
Oh, yes.
Yum.
Yes, apple
That's
cider.
what I do every time we have a holiday gathering.
Yep.
So do hot apple cider because it smells so good.
I love tea. I'm a water drinker, in and out.
No,
That's
but
about all I drink.
I'm with you on the tea.
Yep. But hot, and I don't drink cold tea, but hot tea in the wintertime, even when there's absolutely nothing wrong, it just feels good.
I agree.
To have it in your hand, that hot cup in your hand, even if you're not cold, there's just something warming and comfortable about that.
Soothing.
And, peppermint tea is probably my favorite.
Yum.
So, the essential oils are very potent. So even with peppermint, you would not even do one drop of peppermint oil, the peppermint vitality, in your cup of tea. So I do the toothpick method. So you boil your water like you're normally going to make tea, and then you just take the toothpick and stick it in your essential oil bottle and then just dip that into your water. So you just get a slight residue of the peppermint because it's a very, very strong
I didn't know
oil.
it was that strong. I hadn't tried it in tea yet or in water.
Yeah.
I've been
Cinnamon
warned.
bark, same thing.
Yum.
I would do the toothpick method. So a nice cup of hot vitality essential oil tea while you're sitting on the fireplace hearth.
There you go. I read one the other day that I really liked that was, just keep a basket of blankets around.
Yes.
So people could be cozy. And so we'll be, of course, washing our blankets in some kind of chemical-free laundry detergent and drying them with our dryer balls with a little bit of your favorite scent on them from your favorite essential oil.
Yeah.
But those little touches. Yes, you still need to do the big things, and you may want to upgrade your thermostat and put all that stuff, like a programmable thermostat, and put that stuff out of your mind. But then you just having the nice homey touches. And there's nothing to me more enticing than coming home to a clean smelling home that I can just relax and enjoy the evening. And especially now that the evenings are getting much longer,
They are.
you just want it to feel good and to smell good and to feel comforting. And I think that's really what we all envision with cozy homes. And
And something else that I have also done, instead of the candles, or maybe in addition to, when you want kind of that ambiance, is a Himalayan sea salt lamps.
Oh, I had one and I've lost it in the move.
So I have 2 or 3.
But those
of
are
them
nice,
around the house.
Yeah.
And we just keep them running, turn them on, keep them all the time. So it's kind of like a little night light
Yep.
as well. and supposed to be beneficial for the air.
So are you a mood lighting person?
I am.
I am too. My husband always laughs at me because I always turn the ceiling lights off because I want the lamps on with all my levels of lighting.
Yeah, I want that ambiance.
Yes. Yeah, I'm actually bringing someone on the podcast to talk about lighting.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be fun. Y'all have to stay tuned for that one because we'll talk all about how to light up your home and
that'd be good.
add to it. Well, and the cool thing is you've got so many options with things, everything. And I think sometimes that's overwhelming to people. And don't try to learn it all. Just find a few to compare and find a good resource to help guide you in that information, and then just go do it. And you're going to experiment and change. I can't tell you the selection of cleaning products that I have, and they're all better or good cleaning products, but I try so much stuff with what I do. But it's given me a real opportunity to find some really good stuff. I'll tell you the funnest thing I think I've realized is that all those things that my grandmother taught me back when I was a kid are really what still holds true. It's the simpler approaches that really take into account the simple ingredients and just the wholeheartedness of it. And I think that's what's so cool about essential oils is it just puts that in a way that's more convenient for us to use, but still embodies that integrity of the wholeheartedness of the ingredients.
Right.
So here's to you, grandmother.
Yeah, I agree. Simple's good.
Well, as we're wrapping up, what's your one favorite tip or last parting tip that you'd like to leave with our listeners? And then I want to make sure we tell everybody how to find you.
Okay. Treat your body with grace and treat your body like your home, because your body is your home.
Yep.
Right? I would just like to encourage everybody to research ingredients and take what you would like to do if you're going to make some changes. And we talked about baby steps already. Maybe just take one room.
It's a good idea.
Start with the kitchen. Open up the cupboard under your sink. And don't take our word for it.
Yep.
Go research some of those ingredients, right? Be your own advocate and be your own detective and decide, okay, so this week or this month, I'm going to find a better product.
And maybe it's just finding one, replacing one product at a time.
One thing at a time.
But I do think you'll find that when you start looking at it, you won't need quite so much. So.
Right. And then when you find that and you've realized that you have raised awareness in that area, then better yourself in your home and move on to something else. You're the gatekeeper of your home. So you're in charge of what comes in, what stays in, what you put in your body, what is in the air, what you eat. So be the best gatekeeper that you can be.
Yep. Well spoken.
Yeah.
So how do our listeners connect with you? Do you want to leave contact information or?
Sure. Facebook is my jam. Not on a whole lot of other social media venues.
You're not.
So Facebook is it, folks. So you can find me just by my name. I do have my maiden name as my middle name, so you'll find me as Rhonda Rickman Flint, and that is like Flint, Michigan, Flint. You can also feel free to email me at frugalrhonda, and Rhonda has an H in there, at gmail.com.
And there you go. Well, I can't thank you enough for sharing all you know with our Green Gab audience today, and appreciate all that you've taught me.
Thank you. It's been an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, everybody out in Green Gab land, have a wonderful, great green day.
That wraps this episode of the Green Gab podcast. Ready to use what you've learned? Get the show notes with all the resources mentioned in this episode, plus 9 simple, straightforward, low to no cost ways to improve the health of your home and world today at everydaygreenhome.com. Be sure to subscribe now on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening, and remember, being green is easier and more affordable than you think.